Good morning. You are listening to UpReach, a morning devotional presented by the Church Street Church of Christ in Lewisburg, Tennessee, to encourage you as you face the opportunities and challenges of today. Now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled that there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to dwell in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. The name of the man was Elimelech, the name of his wife was Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion, Ephrathites of Bethlehem, Judah. And they went to the country of Moab and remained there. Then Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left and her 2 sons. Now they took wives of the women of Moab. The name of the one was Orpah, and the name of the other Ruth. And they dwelt there about 10 years. Then both Mahlon and Chilion also died. So the woman survived her 2 sons and her husband. Ruth chapter 1, verses 1 through 5. Naomi's life is going well. She has a great husband as well as 2 fine sons who have 2 wonderful wives. Then the unthinkable happens. Her husband dies. A little time later, both her sons die. She and her daughters-in-law find themselves in the midst of shattered dreams. This is not how life is supposed to be. How does Naomi react to her situation? For it grieves me very much for your sakes that the hand of the Lord has gone out against me. Ruth chapter 1, verse 13. Here we see her true feelings about the situation. But she said to them, "Do not call me Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me. I went out full, and the Lord has brought me home again empty. Why do you call me Naomi, since the Lord has testified against me, and the Almighty has afflicted me?" Ruth chapter 1, verses 20 and 21. Mara means bitter. She knows where she is. She is bitter toward this so-called God of love. How can I possibly reconcile this? No life insurance, no widow's fund. What is going to happen to me and my daughters? The Bible says the rain falls on the righteous and the unrighteous. Naomi and Ruth move to a community where some of her relatives live. Ruth goes out to work in the fields to put food on the table. She just so happens to work in the field of a wealthy farmer named Boaz. When Ruth tells Naomi this, the first ray of hope penetrates her bitter heart. Even she can recognize the hand of God. So she tells her mother-in-law with whom she has worked and says, "The man's name with whom I work today is Boaz." Then Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, "Blessed be he of the Lord, who has not forsaken his kindness to the living and the dead." And Naomi said to her, "This man is a relation of ours, one of our close relatives." Ruth chapter 2, verses 19 and 20. Hebrew custom is for the next of kin to care for the widow in the family. Boaz is to be this man. He will eventually marry Ruth. She will bear a son, Obed. He will be the father of Jesse, the father of David. Jesus himself will ultimately come from the same lineage. What about you today? Are you experiencing any shattered dreams? Just remember, shattered dreams often lead to a world-impacting destiny. But getting there is often a process where you must work through honest feelings before you can see the God who redeems even the most devastating shattered dream. This has been UpReach, a presentation of the Church Street Church of Christ in Lewisburg, Tennessee. I am Kyle Bolton, the pulpit minister at Church Street, and I would like to personally invite you to come and share times of Bible study and worship with us each week. We meet every Sunday at 9 o'clock a.m. for our morning worship, followed by our Sunday school for all ages at 10:15 a.m. Then we meet again at 6 o'clock p.m. for our evening worship. We also have a midweek meeting for devotion and Bible study on Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m.
Why don't you lead me to the rock that is higher than I? Lead me to the rock. Lead me to the rock, why don't you lead me to the rock that is higher than I? Thou hast been a shelter for me. Well, if you go down in yonder for a search among the sheep, thou hast been a shelter for me.